can we go to 6 different countries, fit 1,000 people in the span of 30 days? And we all said, absolutely not. Fast forward, we went to 6 different countries in over 30 days, and we fit 1,000 people with hearing aids.
Welcome to the Ask an Audiologist podcast, real audiology white papers written by real audiologists and explained to you by a real audiologist and a guy who isn't. Now here are your hosts, Dr. Allie and Kevin Ziener.
Welcome back to another episode of Ask an Audiologist. I'm Kevin Ziener.
And I'm Dr. Allie Tressiter.
Today's episode is going to be rather unique, as we will not be discussing articles from askanaudiologist.com. Rather, we will be discussing the cool news that the audiology world received this weekend when Mr. Beast dropped a video where he gave hearing aids to 1,000 people worldwide. And we will tell you how we were a part of it. So Allie, question before we start. Did you have any idea who Mr. Beast was prior to this endeavor?
Okay, I had heard of Mr. Beast, but I feel like, is it a Gen Z thing? Is Mr. Beast a Gen Z
So yes,
thing?
so Mr. Beast, a.k.a. Jimmy Donaldson, is his real name, is 24 years old.
Okay.
So he would very much be a Gen Zer.
Okay.
And he is from and still lives in Greenville, North Carolina. And he is, for those who don't know who are listening to us, the single biggest YouTube account in the world. Upwards of 140 million people worldwide follow him. So without getting into the nuts and bolts of who Mr. Beast is and all that he's done, he is a Gen Zer who grew up on YouTube, and he decided, this is how I'm going to make my way in life. He went to college for like 2 weeks and bailed.
Good for him.
His mom said, hey, I love you, but you can't live here. Go figure out the YouTube thing. And he did. Yeah. And his rise to stardom is still really fresh. Like, I want to say that I read somewhere that his first YouTube video came out like 10 years ago, right?
Really?
But that he was not Mr. Beast relevant until about 4 years ago, because he was just doing normal stuff online, like streaming, playing Minecraft, or, being a troll or whatever the stuff was, right? Whatever a 13, 14-year-old boy would do.
For sure.
And then he started kind of figuring out the YouTube algorithm and what it was looking for and how people would engage with him. Cool. This was the first video that went viral for him. It was him over the course of 40 hours counting from 1 to 100,000. That was the video. Him counting out loud on stream from 1 to 100,000.
I want to know how he arrived at this is it. This is the thing that's going to rocket me into superstardom.
I think the thing with him is he does his homework, and he probably looked at a bunch of different videos and stuff that was performing really well on the platform. And he said, if I count from 1 to 100,000, people are going to follow me. And they did. And since then, he kind of became known as the guy who gives away money. That's his big thing, whether philanthropically or whether through games and contests. He gives away hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. So Mr. Beast had done a 2 or 3 philanthropic things prior to this hearing loss video. One of the big ones was he, quote unquote, cured blindness for 1,000 people.
I saw that one.
So that he helped provide cataract surgery to 1,000 people. He has planted over 20 million trees worldwide. He's given away 20,000 pairs of shoes to rural Africans. So he takes his money and he reinvests it back into his channel, but back into the world. And so it's very cool to see somebody 24 years old be super self-aware to be like,
right.
I think, and this is public knowledge, I think he made something like $50 million off of YouTube last year.
Oh my God.
And when he's interviewed, he says, money for me is 2 things. It's a way to grow the channel, and it's a way to give back. And that's it.
Can you imagine if everyone had a mindset that of just at 24 years old to be so committed to changing lives for the better?
Yeah.
Everyone can learn from him.
It's amazing.
Sure.
It's genuinely amazing. So when that blindness video dropped, the guy who actually edits our video, his name's Daniel, and he does an amazing job. Shout out Daniel. Daniel said, wouldn't it be cool if we could get Mr. Beast to do something with hearing loss? And I said, absolutely, reach out to him. Well, Daniel never did reach out to him because prior to Daniel even being able to reach out to him, we had an inbound inquiry from him.
Wild. Because
another YouTuber named Dr. Cliff Olson, who's in the audiology space, was contacted by Mr. Beast and his team. And they said, hey, we want to be able to fit 1,000 people globally with hearing aids. And he said, I have reach. I don't have that kind of reach. But there is a group that you and I are affiliated with called Hearing the Call, which is a nonprofit that operates both domestically and international. And its only job is to provide hearing healthcare to those people who cannot afford it. He said, this group is the group that you want to be able to talk to. Now, I have some anecdotal information that I can share. We have all more or less signed NDNAs. So NDAs.
Is the NDA is in your DNA?
NDA in my DNA. We signed NDAs, making sure to not give away our DNA should we ever do the wrong thing. So essentially, what happened to us, we were talking with these people who had zero idea about audiology or hearing healthcare. And then they looked at us and they said, we know that we don't know anything. You know everything. Can we go to 6 different countries, fit 1,000 people in the span of 30 days? And we all said, absolutely not. Fast forward, we went to 6 different countries in over 30 days and we fit 1,000 people with hearing aids. You were actually just on the last leg of it, which was in Indonesia.
Yep.
Other groups were in Brazil, Mexico, Guatemala,
South Africa,
India. And so you were the last linchpin to actually finish this project. So you have been on Hearing the Call trips before.
Sure.
You are now on this one that was kind of a partnership with Mr. Beast. Give us a better example of what these trips are typically like.
So they're amazing and chaotic at the same time. So typically when we're going on these trips, we want to have as big a reach as possible. We want to see as many patients as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. So typically the clinic day will start at like 7 a.m. And there have been times that we've been there until 8 or 9 p.m. just seeing patients. Wow. Because when you're there, people hear about you, people know that you're coming, and you'll see lines out the door.
And there's nothing like uniform. Like you're not like at an actual doctor's office. Sometimes you're just in the open air, right?
A lot of times, wow. Yeah. It's just a space that could be found that would fit us.
Cool.
And we bring all the equipment. But I mean, gosh, last year I was in Jordan and we had Syrian refugees coming to us. And it's these people that barely have access to just clean food and water and let alone healthcare,
sure.
Right? And so they're just so thankful. And so we saw that in Indonesia too, where, you know, people have no access to hearing healthcare. They are unable to afford hearing aids. And so they come in and all they want is just the teeniest bit of help. Mm-hmm. And so when you put hearing aids on these patients, it's what fills my cup. It is like, cool. These trips are life-changing for me because you just see the impact you can have by putting hearing aids on somebody and making sure they feel listened to and heard and understood, which I think they don't always get. So they're chaotic and busy and fast, but just so amazing.
I have been on the domestic side and being able to see people from all walks of life, young and old, be given the gift of hearing is never not cool. Mm-hmm. To then take it to an international capacity to people who are in very rural, very destitute areas, be given something that they probably never even knew about, let alone thought would be given to them, has to be even more magical to see firsthand.
Oh my gosh. I mean, absolutely. And I'll say personally for me, I have never, until these trips, I've never seen poverty like I've seen on these trips. I mean, I couldn't even fathom this level of poverty and inability to access just basic needs. And so when I was in Indonesia, just an example of 2 patients that we helped, it was a father and son. They came in, the father said nothing. We were talking to him, but it was clear he couldn't hear anything. Yeah. And the son was sitting there. The son was probably in his 50s, so older father. They both sat there straight-faced, we were talking through translators, but all pretty straight-faced and no excitement. As soon as we put hearing aids on both of them, The son especially could not stop smiling.
Cool.
He asked for pictures with everybody. I mean, you can see it in their demeanor, just their whole life is lighter and brighter and better.
That's amazing.
It's really cool.
It's amazing. It was awesome to be a part of this, the behind the scenes. You got to experience it on the ground.
Awesome.
If you want to know the pull that somebody like Mr. Beast has, they filmed down in Mexico. They did a pretty good job of keeping it a secret. Eventually, because it was a small town in Mexico, word got out. There was only 2 photos that came out of him, and it was him wearing a Hearing the Call shirt, which was really cool. Just 2 photos were then turned into videos on YouTube and TikTok, the likes of which those videos that aren't about him, that just are a picture of him, got millions of views within 24 hours.
How cool is that?
It's insane. And so I can remember looking at Nora Stewart, who was the founder of Hearing the Call, and I said, when you started this thing 12 years ago, you hoped to be able to partner with a celebrity like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or Meryl Streep.
Right.
Only you didn't know 12 years later there was going to be somebody even bigger and more influential who was going to come across your plate. And it was, in fact, a 24-year-old from Greenville, North Carolina, Mr. Beast. And now tens of millions of people have heard his story with Hearing the Call and now know about the philanthropic arm that Allie and I are both part of in Hearing the Call. And there's a world of difference now because of it.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it truly is.
it really is.
So thank you to Mr. Beast for bringing audiology to the forefront for the masses and in all of our collective consciousness. And if you want to support Mr. Beast, go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe. If you want to donate to Hearing the Call, go to hearingthecall.org, and you can donate anywhere from $5 to $1 million if you so choose. But even just sharing the videos and being aware of what both Mr. Beast do and what Hearing the Call does is a great thing for audiology, and it's a great thing, clearly, for humanity.
For sure.
Dr. Allie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kev.
We'll see you guys next week.
You can find more information at askanaudiologist.com, and you can follow us on all our social channels at Ask an Audiologist. The information provided on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and does not substitute for professional medical advice.
And you put the candle also right up against there with the lit side out.
Got it.
Right? Not in.
Flame in the air. Got
Not in. But
again, she's the doctor. I'm just the idiot who hosts the show. If you have any mail coming to her because you put the wrong side of the candle in your ear, it goes to Dr. Allie.